hearts are broken. A lover's promise never came with a maybe. So many words are left unspoken. The silent voices are driving me crazy. After all the pain you caused me, making up could never be your intention. You never know how much you hurt me. Stay, can't you see that I wanna fall from the stars straight into your arms? I hope you comprehend. Wanna fall from the stars straight into your arms. I feel you. I hope you comprehend.
Give me some tissue, Tyler. Sometimes it feels cold and you feel all alone, but hold on, better days are coming. It can be rough in this world. I know it ain't easy, but hang on in there. Better days are coming. You see good, you see bad, you ain't happy and you sad, but just remember that better days are coming. Friends will leave you all by yourself, but don't cry, comes better days are coming. Better days, better days are coming. It's only a season for you going through, but stay focused and never lose sight. I know people, they don't see the hurt and feel inside, but keep on smiling 'cause everything will be alright.
Oh, what a wonderful sound. That's beautiful. I think you would agree, Lady Chelsea.
Yeah.
Better days are coming.
Yeah.
Oh, right, I've got some interference in the background. Don't you worry, we'll sort that out in a moment.
Oh, okay.
Better days are coming. So welcome to everyone. Welcome to listeners. Welcome to viewers on YouTube and Facebook to the Motivator Show, alongside Lady Chelsea, good morning to you, Lady Chelsea.
Hi, good morning. Good morning, everyone.
How are you feeling this fine morning? Although
it's a bit grey, isn't it? Yeah, I feel all right.
you feel
It's
right.
not nice outside, but I'm all right.
It'll catch up. That's all good. It is all good. Another show, and just to remind listeners, so what will happen this show? For the first 45 minutes or so, be a series of introductions on the usual intros, and around 8:45, we'll have our guest in from the Pentecostal Credit Union and the African Cooperative Union. We look forward to discussing with them finance, money, empowerment. But before that, of course, Lady Chelsea, let's remember. I want to remember reasons why we're able to be here. I want to applaud and recognize Chipa Kumbabai, the founder and leader of Galaxy Radio. Yeah? I want to recognize Elder Erikute, Abu Ratata, Nicole the Most Royal, Empress Shanice, important members of the Galaxy management to ensure that we can have this show today. I want to thank them for their dedication to the cause. And remembering, of course, remember our past guest, Ndidi Ichewa, she reminded us Africa's wealth is not the natural resources of that great continent. It is actually the technology that derives from those natural resources. So I want to remember and give recognition to the engineers that have kept Galaxy working, operating for more than 35 years. I give praise to the engineers who are here with us today to ensure that we can transmit not only on digital radio via afiwi.com, galacyafiwi.com, but we're able to transmit via YouTube and Facebook through the Motivator Show. Yeah? Thank you all for your dedication. We're on your shoulders, and we hope we continue to do you proud. And that's right, isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah, that is.
That's right. I also, of course, must give a quick shout out to Elder Norma. She's not particularly well today, so she may or may not be listening, but I do, and I know on your behalf, we wish her well.
Yeah.
She will listen to a recording of this show via Facebook or YouTube, hopefully later today, but she's not feeling particularly well at this time. So I wish her the best of health. I wish her the best.
Yeah, me too.
But now move on to the health section, health messages. And I was challenged, believe it or not, Lady Chelsea, by someone who said, why do you always talk about health, every week? Motivator, you're a doctor, you're not a nutritionist or a trainer. I said, that's true.
Yeah.
These are simply positive messages.
Yeah.
It's curious. Then I pointed out, it was a sister as it happens, I said, look, in our community, we have almost an epidemic of diabetes and hypertension.
Yeah.
And I had to refer the sister to a speech given recently by Professor Hilary Beckles, the Vice Chancellor of the University of the West Indies. And I invited her just to Google his name and diabetes speech. And she found him, and she was shocked. She hadn't realized to what extent in the both African Caribbean, continental African communities, the levels of diabetes and hypertension are pervasive. It was or is in the community. These are essentially lifestyle diseases. Therefore, because of my other public hat, I'm obliged to provide the advice, based on the advice I've received from trained professionals, and only listen to trained professionals when given advice. I say it's simply advice. If you are unsure, go to your own trained professionals. So I'm going to give the advice on health.
Yeah.
So I'm going to remind people to to consider the amount of sugar you're ingesting into your bodies every day. Yeah. Do you need to add additional spoons of sugar to your cups of teas and coffee, or indeed those fizzy drinks that many people are inclined to buy these days? Yeah, we don't just really sugar drinks, really, with a bit of fizz.
Yeah.
Now, for some reason, your video's stored, Lady Chelsea. Okay. So I want to remind people just to consider the amount of sugar they're ingesting. Equally, consider the amount of salt that you add to your food. Is it really necessary to add that much salt to your food? Consider the amount of salt in those processed products you buy in the shops, you know? Is it really necessary to add salt to your rice, for example, or to your meat when you're preparing it, you know?
Yeah.
Invariably, it is not necessary, okay? It is not necessary.
Mm.
So I would say to people, consider how much salt you're ingesting. Equally, consider the amount of fat you are consuming. Either fats in meats, you know, which is, you know, you see these, you go to the butchers and you want to buy some steak and they cut a bit of steak for you. You see this white stuff in the steak. You know?
Yeah.
And then, you know what? They charge you for the white stuff.
No.
That white stuff is fat.
Some people like the fat.
Around your body.
Yeah.
They charge you for it. And they charge you the same price for the steak, for the fat. Yeah. Isn't that wild? It
is. But some people like it. So
it's not, I can assure you, Lady Chelsea, not that they like it, that they've been that's learned behavior, but extremely harmful behavior. So when the butcher says, "Oh yes, it's good to have this fat here, it's good for the flavouring," the butcher is thinking about his or her bottom. So
is that a lie? It doesn't help with flavouring. Okay.
Cool. No concern about your health, long-term health. So I'm a novice. Speak to your doctor. Speak to your nutritionist. Speak to that person who you trust to provide sound advice. And if I'm wrong, please. You can call in and tell me I was wrong. That in fact, the fat was good for you. You know, it doesn't congeal around your heart and potentially cause a clogging of your heart, your veins and arteries, and bring the result of a heart attack in later life.
Yeah. Okay.
If I'm wrong, please, I don't mind being challenged. Okay?
Yeah, call and tell him.
That's something, you know. I'm wild. I was challenged, you know? And lastly, of course, I want people also to consider the amount of water you're consuming. You know? Are you consuming enough water? Yeah, because often these prepared meals are deficient in water. You know, because of our way we live here in these sort of sedentary lifestyle, particularly here in England and other places across Europe and other places, these sedentary lifestyles means that we very often don't drink enough water. I'm told ideally between 2 to 3 liters of water per day. Yes, you can get water for your food, but often we need to drink additional amounts. Okay, how much you need, again, go to your doctor, go to your nutritionist. Let he or she give you that advice. But I want you to consider the amount of water you are consuming, you know? Insufficient water, you get constipation, you know, that sort of thing, you feel dehydrated, you know, your mouth is dry, your body needs the craving for water. We are mostly water. Huh?
Yeah, that's true.
70% we are mostly water. Okay? Water is life for us.
Yes.
And of course, it's important to continue to increase the amount of vegetables in our diets. In our diet.
Fruits,
Meat should be no more than 10%, if that, in our diet. Ideally. That's what the nutritionists tell me, what the doctors tell me. I could be wrong. Again, I'm happy to be challenged by experts or novices out there who think they know better. If you know better, I don't mind being informed, you know, but that's what I'm advised. Okay, I'm passing that advice to you, but I'm asking you, please, don't take my word for it. verify what I've said,
Mm-hmm.
validate what I've said. If I've got it wrong, call in and tell me I've got it wrong, you know? Come tell me that, yes, you can eat large lumps of lard every day and not suffer consequences. Huh?
Yeah, it'd be a mad argument, but yeah, but yeah.
I've had that kind of conversation. And of course, most essential, you must exercise every day. Allow your heart to race, because we as human beings are meant to be very physical, okay? Again, these sedentary lifestyles where we can get up and food is ready for us. We've gone to the shop, we walk to the shop and walk back. We don't really race or have to work to get our food.
Yeah, that's not enough.
So believe it or not, our bodies think that's how it is still. That's how we used to live. Well, only a few hundred years ago. In fact, maybe a few decades ago, you had to go hunt for your food, Now, it's all prepared for.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is key, isn't it? But our bodies believe that's what we need. Our bodies are much slower to evolve than our minds. Our minds are racing forward at a rate of knots, but our bodies take generations to evolve, to adapt to our new conditions. Yeah. That's why we need to exercise. Yes, I had my weights here. Oh, gosh.
Oh, look at them. Yeah.
I'm doing it. I spent time this morning doing this. My legs,
don't hurt yourself. I don't know if that's the right form, but yeah.
I'm enjoying it. Enjoyable experience. Working out is such an enjoyable experience. I can feel my body say, yes! Motivator, give me more pressure. Yeah, this is what I've been waiting for.
Yeah, and your mind as well. It makes afterwards. It makes you feel positive.
You feel positive. You feel better in yourself. Your general feeling of well-being is feeling better.
Yeah.
And of course, getting onto that subject of well-being, never forgetting, it's important to think about how you give yourself space for your general mental health. And indeed your spiritual health, allowing yourself those moments where you're able just to settle, just to be quiet, allow all the cares of life just to flow over you, and to raise your energy level so you feel truly invigorated. But that's meditation. Give yourself the time each day for periods of meditation. And I'm assured that transformation will happen. How about that, Lady Chelsea?
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said.
Thank you. And your screen is still stuck?
Oh, am I back?
Yeah. For some reason, at least on my end anyway. I can see your persona, but you are still persona. Okay.
Oh, I don't know how to fix that.
Might turn off your camera and then turn it back on again.
Okay.
I have no idea. Or move your position, maybe. Move your position. That might do also. I think it's a reception issue. Anyway, so let me now just plow on. Oh, there you're back now. You're back with us.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, let me plow on. We had some interesting shows of late, I must say. And I want to give a special shout out to Selena Carter of the Black Poppy Rose Campaign.
Yeah.
Wasn't she an outstanding person?
No, she was.
Absolutely outstanding. And I've got to tell you that whatever we could do to give promotion to the Black Poppy Rose Campaign, who's dedicated to remembering those of our ancestors who served in wars on behalf of Britain, the Commonwealth, and other countries, that they are not forgotten. They are not forgotten. And as they enter their twilight ages, that they are supported by those of us who are appreciative of their effort to keep Nazism, to keep those right-wingers, to keep those racists, Donald Trump's type people, those right-wing Christian evangelists, They would tell our people Don't defend yourself against a known danger. Let someone else take care of it for you, whilst they defend themselves against a known danger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Yeah. I detest such people, I have to tell you. Donald Failure Trump, twice impeached, the loser of the House of Representatives, yeah, who stimulated the largest election in American history. Can you imagine? More than 81 million people came out to vote for the bloke who won.
Yeah.
Keep him out. A record number of people recognized he was a danger to America. It was a danger to the West. It was danger to the world.
Mm-hmm.
Such people should not hold political office.
Yeah.
So, Rastafari, you know? We should remember that. We cannot sit on the sidelines and let other people make those decisions for us. We, as Black people, African peoples, have to be involved in the political process to ensure people like him never gain office.
Mm-hmm.
Essential. Enough of sitting on the sideline complaining. Get involved, I say to people. We have to defend our interest and the interest of the wider communities who all will benefit from our efforts. We must take responsibility. Praise be, praise be. But anyway, enough of that. But I want to ask you, Lady Chelsea, was there anything interesting that happened during the week? For some reason, your screen is frozen again, but never mind.
But you can hear me?
Oh,
okay. Yeah, what I saw this week. So, there was some stuff with the vaccine, right? They're trying to push for my age group to really get it. I don't know how true it is, but I saw them saying they wanted to give discounts for cabs and cinema tickets and things and pizza and stuff to try and get 19 to 29-year-olds to get the vaccine quickly. There's going to be like pop-up stations this weekend, especially as I think they said September, you won't be able to go to a club without being double vaccinated, I believe. So I think that's interesting.
As being a sort of reasonable step by the government, although I very rarely agree with them mostly, but on this one?
Reasonable. I understand why they would go that route, but I feel like it's kind of taking decision out of people's hands, if it kind of makes sense, because it's just like, okay, like you kind of have to do it, and like especially with the clubs and events and stuff, like that age range of people are going to want to party, especially after 2 years of kind of being stuck in a house. And then I don't know if it's kind of like a cheap way to get people to do it, because I don't know if I would
say. Is it reasonable, bearing in mind the numbers of people who have died? Is it reasonable in your view?
I don't know.
So what if you are a vector? In other words, you catch it.
Yeah.
But you are asymptomatic. You show no symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
But, you then encounter someone who's vulnerable to it.
Yeah.
Onto them. Would you feel any guilt, any sense of responsibility for?
Yeah. I suppose not everyone would. Everyone has different mindset. I suppose. I think I probably would, but I think I don't know. The vaccine doesn't really stop you from passing it on. It just stops you from possibly having a extreme reaction.
That's right. End up in hospital and possibly die.
Yeah.
That's pretty important, huh?
Yeah. No, that is important. But yeah. So I think for that case, I think getting it is good. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I think with the vaccine, people becoming, they don't want to wear masks and stuff now. So like a lot of people, I've seen, especially older people, I work in the supermarket, have come and said, well, why do I need to wear a mask? I've been double vaccinated now. And it's just like, you can still pass it to someone else. You could still, you know, the vaccine doesn't stop. This could still hurt people. And, you know, people, I think, who are now vaccinated kind of just want to go back to normal.
Yeah.
Not as many people as I see use the antibacterial stations and stuff as well. Because I think, you know, millions of people are vaccinated now. So I don't know if it's confidence in it, but I mean, the vaccine's not 100%. So it'd be nice if people still wash their hands.
It would be, isn't it? Amazing number of people don't typically wash their hands, isn't it?
Yeah. So,
but that could be said to be even more harmful, not washing your hands. Because,
yeah. You know, COVID's not gone. So, and you should be washing your hands anyway. But
I hear you. So on balance, it's just unclear then, but it's interesting because it's. I'm not sure why it's controversial. Okay, I know some people say, "Well, no, I'm not going to take it." When you ask them, "Well, have you been vaccinated against other diseases?" Yes, but I'm not going to take this one.
Yeah.
Okay. I said, why? If it happened so quickly, I said, okay. What you're saying is that it happened quickly. In other words, instead of potentially 5 to 10% of the population that gets it dying from it, less than 2%, if that, would die from it, because the technology is still evolving. Yeah. So what would you prefer? That it not devise at least some defense, okay?
Yeah.
And save some people, okay?
Yeah.
Then no defense, and it's just the Wild West.
Yeah, because I'm sure if there wasn't a vaccine, people would be upset about that as well. So
very upset. Look, you see, and I think the real problem we have is that we don't see people dying on screens.
Oh,
that's true.
Okay.
Now, for whatever reason, we saw the pictures of graves in Brazil. They were so in Brazil. They're so ashamed that they're burying people at night in these mass graves. Do you remember those pictures?
I didn't see that.
No?
But I remember you saying. Yeah,
mass graves. And another example is India. Always millions of people were dying in India, and they're burning the bodies en masse. Yeah, en masse.
Yeah.
So it is an interesting one. It is an interesting one. You know, until you see those pictures of people dying because they didn't have any defense against this known pathogen, okay, that people here in the West suddenly realize, oh, you know, we're like very, very wealthy fat people. Forgive me, fat people. No, I shouldn't say that.
Oh my gosh.
Our bellies are so full that we've never suffered hunger or true pain. Yeah. Can you imagine? And for that reason, we can be very blasé about it. But it's not until, in my case, my best friend died from COVID. You know, he used to have severe asthma.
Yeah.
And he died. So I say to people, don't take my advice or our advice. Go see your doctor. Sit down with your doctor and have a heart-to-heart with your doctor. But please don't listen to any random novice who doesn't have a professional insurance. So in the event that the advice given to you, you can sue them. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Often, those who are given advice these days, they've got no professional advice. You can't sue them. And in fact, even if you wanted to prosecute them, they would not be deemed to be a suitable source for this type of advice, this clinical advice. Because why would you take an advice from a radio presenter or politician? Or business owner? You know, that is not sensible, is it?
No.
Only people who are qualified are your GP, the person you go to whenever you have an ailment, or a suitably qualified nurse. You know, they're the people who are, or the authority on this. They're the ones who've done the research. They're the ones who are devising these things. You know, I might say to people, seek out sound advice. Don't listen to YouTube or Facebook and like that. Go to your doctor, the person who has your medical record and knows you. Now remember, none of these current technologies are 100% proof.
Yeah.
But they're a lot better than having nothing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I say to people, particularly those who've not been practicing how to boost their immune response, seek out sound advice.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, enough of that. And thank you, Lady Chelsea, for getting us going on that one. You know? I've had a few comments come in whilst you've been talking, you know. I've been told I should let you say your piece. I let you say your piece, didn't I?
Yeah.
There you are, you know.
I feel so.
But we've got to apply logic, in my view. Logic
Yeah.
that you can take some defense against what is a clear and present danger. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Either you've been practicing means of boosting your immune response to all pathogens, or particularly if you have a co-condition, particularly one of those that have been highlighted. Now, if you've taken or long-term on certain drugs which lower your immune response, then maybe, you know what, no matter what anyone says, you should go see your doctor and have that private discussion with your doctor. You know, is this medicine right for me or not?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, common sense, huh? Common sense. There you are.
Yeah.
There you are, do your lips. I'm going to now hand over to you. I'm going to hand over to you. And for young Malachi.
Oh, yeah. Our little competition.
I've got to go in now.
Again, we're doing this competition we've been doing for a couple of months for young people. And this is to win. I don't have the book, but it's to win the book that young Malachi, if you remember a couple of months ago, who we interviewed with his mother, sister Sekmet.
Yes. An inspired mother, truly.
Yeah. And you know, they showed their relationship and their love, and as she did through homeschooling him, and we saw the confident young man that he had and is becoming. And he wrote a book called Tutankhamun, The Tale of the Adventurous Boy King. And that is the prize, with an added £25, as the motivator has promised, with a signed copy of the book for answering these questions correctly. So I have a question again for the under 10s and another one for 11 to 16-year-olds. And we did all right a couple of weeks ago. We had 2 people come in for both ages. The first 11 to 16-year-old that came in and answered the question correctly. And we'll have to get back to them about getting the prizes for them and everything. But they did really well. So I have, let me turn up my phone. I have the questions here. Let me just double check that.
Okay, when you're ready. And of course, the number to call children is as follows. If you're going to call, the number to call the studio is 0203 481 5240. And you'll be asked then to enter your PIN number. A PIN is 3707 33 4397, followed by the ash sign. That's the vertical and horizontal line. I'll say it one more time very quickly before Lady Chelsea goes to the question. So the number to call, it's 0203 481 5240, and the PIN number 3707 33 43 97, followed by the ash sign, vertical and horizontal lines. And of course, if you're viewing this program via Facebook or YouTube, you can see that the numbers are on the screen. Okay, over to you, Lady Chelsea.
Yeah, it's fine. Okay, so this is the first question. This question is for the under 10s.
Question 1. How do you spell Tutankhamun?
So that's, how do you spell Tutankhamun? Question number 2, which is for 11 to 16-year-olds.
Question 9. Who or what did the people of Kemet worship during the time of Tutankhamun?
So that's, who or what did the people of Kemet worship at the time of Tutankhamun?
Wow. Okay. We should know the answers to these questions. You know,
Yeah.
we know what I should do. I should ask some of these adults who's coming on
No.
ask a question.
That'd be interesting.
That'd be very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But it'd be further evidence, and why we do this every week, that the teaching of Black, or indeed African history, is a must.
Yeah.
Whether in mainstream schools, colleges, universities,
Yeah.
or we, the community, take responsibility to establishing cultural centres, cultural schools, as a part, maybe linked to our supplementary schools. So it's not only teaching purely academic matters, but we're teaching culture, tradition, and our history from our perspective to our children. Yep.
Yeah, it's important.
Truly an empowerment exercise. I believe we have a moral responsibility to ensure that all of our children, even if they are brought up here in Britain, regardless of the fact that Britain doesn't give a true picture or teach true African history to children here in this country through the national curriculum, except as it relates to the enslavement period, and their brutality, or goes back thousands of years to our ancient peoples of Egypt and so on, But it doesn't give the richness, the culture, traditions, the pride, the joy of what it is to have African heritage. Okay? But then, it is our responsibility. And I hope that as we come to the point of introducing our guest, that we can discuss financial empowerment so that we can build those buildings, create those spaces, and finance those teachers to teach the next generation. That's the vision. That's the vision, and why these questions are so important. We offer these questions to young people, to their parents, to think about the answers to these questions, because these figures are our ancestors. No matter what is said by other people, these are our ancestors. Okay? And this is what we've got to remember. We mustn't live in amnesia. Amnesia means that you make the same mistakes again and again and again. But I think we've now passed that phase. We can now take control of these matters, and we have a duty to teach the next generation. How about that, Lady Chelsea? Anything you want to add to what I've said?
I'm not going to lie, you were kind of frozen, so I didn't hear what you said, but I'm sure it was extremely positive and helpful. I'll confidently say I agree.
Okay, we have some reception problems this morning, but never mind, don't worry. We'll sort it out later on. What I really want to do, as we discuss financial independence, okay, we've had a program just under a year ago, in which we had a banker, a fledgling banker, and I'll get him back in, Sam Gunn, okay? I'll get him back in again to find out from him how the emerging bank was evolving, what progress he's made, for him to provide an update to us. But today, of course, what we want to discuss is a matter that comes up regularly on our program, how cooperatives can contribute to the development of our community. And often we just don't give recognition to the role cooperatives have played and continue to play in our lives. I know your parent and my parents would tell us that back in the 50s and 60s, the partnership system was the means by which they saved money or were able to raise money to acquire properties. But I know that in some part of our community, the partner system evolved into the cooperative units. And I hope our guest that as we introduce him shortly will discuss the origins of the cooperative units within our community and the role those cooperative unions have played within the community. You know, I think that's a really important part, because I think you'd prefer to buy your property as opposed to rent your property, wouldn't you, Lady Chelsea?
Yeah, eventually.
No hesitation. Yeah. No.
Well, so
Yeah. If you could buy, you'd buy.
yeah.
You prefer to buy than rent.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's at my end.
Now, this is a curious thing. The party in power, there are some fundamental differences I have, but in respect of acquiring assets and developing sufficient assets for legacy to your next generation, you can only do this by acquiring your own home.
Right.
Yeah. Or building a business even. Yeah. So you can bequeath your lifetime's capital accumulation, in other words, your house or your business, to your sons or daughters or family members. That's how communities enrich themselves, you know. It means the next generation doesn't have to start from zero. It uses the assets, the wealth of the previous generation to acquire and generate more wealth for itself. And there it goes, up and up and up. Yeah. And I see the cooperative movement as being an integral part of the wealth creation, accumulation that occurs within the community. So it means that you can put in a small amount, but yet gain, because you're part of a much larger pool from which to call upon in your times of financial need. That, if I may say so, kind of makes sense to me. And why the bank is important, but I equally see, and I know you do, the cooperative movement is an important movement in our community. And we should do all we can to encourage the cooperative movement. Okay, there you are. And I think I may have said enough. And I know if you've got any point you would raise on that one, you're good.
I'm good.
You're content. You want to hear what the experts have to say.
Yeah.
Let's hear them. Yeah? And these are usually unsung heroes in the community. We don't talk about them enough. We don't give them sufficient publicity, you know, and not enough of us are supporting them either, you know. Our failing. This show, and I'm sure other shows will follow, will be part of that redirection, yeah, that allows us as a community to realize the truth. Do we have it within our grasp, the solutions that many cry and seek out for? Yeah? We have it within our grasp, within our skill, within our visions. We have it here. Today, I know we have representatives of the Pentecostal Credit Union, African Cooperative Union. Now let's see if I can separate the guest out between the two. Can I just first of all go to representatives of the Pentecostal Credit Union? Is Shane in the house? Is he in the house?
I am, yes.
Good morning to you, Shane. Thank you. I'm pleased you could make it.
Thank you for having me.
Good morning.
Thank you. Good. And I'm going to introduce you properly in a moment. And I can just double check that we have representatives of the African Cooperative Union in the house.
Yes. Can you hear me? Okay.
I can. Who am I speaking about? Oh, that Brother Akram.
Brother Akram.
Oh, Brother Akram. Good.
And also, there should be my partner or chairman, Tajuddin.
Taj.
Hello. Yes.
Good morning.
Too. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Very young voice, Taj. Huh? Very young voice.
It sounds young, yeah.
Oh, I like young. It means then the future is secure, you know? The future is secure. So standing young, trust me, Taj, is the way forward. Yeah? Oh, you look like a young man. Come on now. Come on.
I am young. I'm young.
Come on. I know Brother Akram and Shane will applaud you. Good. All right, good. We'll good to talk to you. Now then, so what I'm going to do first of all, I'm going to start off with the Pentecostal Credit Union. And I want to make an admission. And I'm somewhat embarrassed. Until this year, I didn't know that there was such a thing as the Pentecostal Credit Union. Okay, and in more recent weeks, I've had calls to do my research, and I'm astonished that I didn't know. They're actually based with offices here in London. In fact, only about 4 or 5 miles away from me. Can you imagine? And this is, if not the oldest, one of the oldest credit unions in our community. You know, born out of my parents' generations and their vision and ambition for me as their son, indeed my sisters, their daughters, you know, that we can do better. Yeah, we can organize around a financial institution, pool our resources, develop collective decisions that will enhance our lives. So let's talk to Shane, who's the Chief Executive of the Pentecostal Credit Union. Good morning to you, sir. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Councillor, and good morning, everybody.
Yes, thank you. Can I ask you, please, just tell us a short history of the Pentecostal Credit Union?
Okay, so the Pentecostal Credit Union was founded in 1979 by Reverend Carmel Jones and 16 Christian friends who had come together out of some concern from the financial exclusion experienced by the Windrush generation. Mm-hmm. Now, Reverend Jones was a Pentecostal minister in the Church of God in Christ, originally founded in Sussex Road in Brixton, but then moved to the church in Fentiman Road. Mm-hmm. And this fledgling Christian group had originally met in Front Room and had managed to acquire their own property through the old partner system.
Yes.
However, a lot of other fledgling Pentecostal groups were finding it difficult to acquire properties once they had outgrown their meeting places in front rooms and community centres. In addition to that, individual members of the Windrush community were finding it difficult to call for family members from their own countries and also to acquire their own properties, because many of these people were actually living in communal dwellings. Yes. And were now looking to purchase properties. But when they approached the mainstream banks, they were unable to get loans and mortgages. Yeah. So out of a concern for this, Reverend Jones and 16 Christian friends founded the Pentecostal Credit Union in Reverend Jones's front room in 1979. And he saw an advert in the Sun newspaper looking for advertising the how to start a credit union. So he contacted the Sun, which put him in touch with the old League of British Credit Unions, as they were now known as the Association of Credit Unions, which was the trade body, and got a rule book and then paid the £1.20, and the credit union was founded. It is now one of the largest credit unions in the United Kingdom. And it is its common bond is that it serves the Pentecostal faith community, but de facto it is Britain's largest Black-owned financial institution, providing financial services, loans, mortgages, savings.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you. I don't know, you make these outstanding statements without any gusto.
Okay.
Say that again. Did you say that the Pentecostal Credit Union is the largest financial Black institution in this country?
Yes, it's Britain's largest black-owned financial institution in the United Kingdom.
There you are. I would say to you straight away, well done. But anyway, let me not interrupt you further. That's a profound statement, because there are many young people listening to this, and indeed people my age who are unaware of that fact. Well done. Anyway, please continue.
Yes, so bringing you up to speed to the modern day now. So, I mean, we provide a range of financial services, loans, savings, mortgages, in order to help people purchase their own property. We have an online presence enabling people to do online transactions. We have a debit card enabling people to make purchases online and draw cash out of the cash point. So although our antecedents are firmly within the Pentecostal church and the Pentecostal faith community, we are de facto Britain's largest black-owned financial institution. And we have ambitions not to remain a credit union, because for those that may not know the difference between a bank or a credit union, there are certain limits and constraints on what a credit union can do. And we are now finding that in order to further aid and assist the Black community, we will not be able to fully realize our potential by remaining a credit union. And so we have firm ambitions to become a bank. And we already meet many of the financial ratios and criteria to becoming a bank. And so that is firmly my objective and the objective of the board of directors.
That is for the credit union to become a bank?
Yes.
Wow. Is there some time frame?
Well, in our business plan, we've put that at about 10 years. So in order to realize that, of course, we will need to continue to grow at the rate that we're growing. Now, we're not particularly big in terms of our membership, but our balance sheet, and as I said, those financial ratios, which would enable us to make the qualifying criteria to becoming a bank, is, I guess, the things that we want to cover in our business plan.
Wow. Okay. And my last question, I'll hand over to Lady Chelsea. In terms of your business plan, are we 10 years away, 5 years away?
Well, at the moment, we're probably nearer somewhere between 5 and 10 years from becoming a bank. But that's firmly our objective.
Okay, direction of travel. Excellent. Thank you for that. That's an interesting intro. I'm going to hand over to Lady Chelsea. I know she has a similar question for the African Cooperative Union.
Yeah, that's for either Brother Akram or Taj. You can answer. It's just the same question. Sorry. What was the kind of origin or history of the African Cooperative Union?
The original history of the African Cooperative Union, again, very similar to the credit union. The question was asked basically on the Galaxy Radio, what can be done about our condition? What can be done about our situation? Mm-hmm. And I said, I know what can be done because of my business exploration in Africa, and come to realize what we're up against, because I've been in Africa now for over 30 years, but this was over 10 years ago when that question was asked. And Dr. Abu said, well, look, why don't you put it together? I didn't expect that answer from him, but he said, look, why don't you go and put it together? And I thought, well, okay, I have to do something. And I went and drew up what was the idea of my vision. And there was a man that used to be on Galaxy Radio as a, he just comes in now and then, like I do sometimes. Mm-hmm. And I listened to him talking, and I said, that man, I need to talk to that man, because, he's a very forward-thinking person. He's the type of person who seemed to want to be able to do something, and mm-hmm. And I introduced it to him. And it's like when I introduced the idea to him, he said, well, you know, it's like, where have you been all my life? You know, I mean, something that is definitely needed.
Yeah.
And thankfully, I met him, and we started from there. We started having meetings and start putting it together. You know, we have several meetings for several years, trying to develop what was going to be the cooperative, how it's going to be, and so forth. We went into different people's houses, even Sister Nzinga houses. We, you know, different places, even the municipal office at Brixton, you know, because we had Lorna Campbell, who was actually pushing credit union at the time, which we hadn't quite grasped fully at the time, you know, which is a cooperative idea. So we used to have meetings even in the Bristol municipal office, you know, to try and put it together. It took us about 3 years developing what it's going to be like, what the emblems, everything about it, and we launched it in June of 2013, and we've been on the road since.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's good.
Taj is
Taj as well.
chairman.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I'll just throw on a little bit on that. So we've been around for about the last 8 years. I suppose that's like the intro into the African Cooperative Union. Since then, there's been a lot of back and forth with regards to trying to gain a lot more traction in the community in terms of the membership and actually putting money to work and, you know, investing in, you know, things that could generate a return on investment, but at the same time, in a roundabout way, also have some impact in the community. I mean, if you have members who are growing their wealth, it has some kind of ripple effect in some of the things that we can do in the community. So it's been a long journey. There's been sparks of great things. We haven't actually quite reached where we want to get to. I'm pretty fresh on the scene. So
fresh face. I said that, didn't I?
Yeah, but so I pretty much got involved in this capacity anyway, just back in May. So just having to look at everything and what we need to change. But my actual genesis with the ACU started in 2017 to 18 December, and you know, I came on board, got really excited about the project and the possibilities, and you know, back and forth. Like I said, there were sparks, but nothing really big has really come out. But I assume going forward that is going to be the new direction, and some exciting things are already being planned going forward. So I suppose that brings us up to 2021. So, and I'm trying to, you know, jiggle a few things around and push in the right direction. So I think I'll leave it on that.
Yeah, that's great to hear.
Thank you for that. And if I may just go back to Shane of the Pentecostal Credit Union. Of course, Shane, it's an interesting one. You've been around for decades. You're the largest Black managed financial institution in the country. Okay. Therefore, gives you considerable weight. But you refer to it being the Pentecostal Credit Union. Now, is that the title you will continue to retain, or will you start to refer to yourself as being PCU, as I noticed in your logo? Because of course you want to become a bank. Will you become a bank for the Pentecostal members of our community, or do you have wider ambitions?
I think it's important to appreciate the legal definition of a credit union. So initially, a credit union, unlike a bank, legally must have a constituent group. So whether so you have the majority of credit unions running along live or work constituents, either within a locality or appealing to a particular employment group. We're a community-based credit union, so we have to narrow our definition down to a specific constituent group, which is the Pentecostal church, or anyone that can demonstrate an association to the Pentecostal church. But we've tried to make that definition of our constituent group as loose as possible, so that it doesn't necessarily a person doesn't necessarily have to have a right hand of fellowship or be a regular attender at a Pentecostal church. They just have to demonstrate an association with a Pentecostal church in order to join. Now, because of that, we accept anyone into membership that can demonstrate that association. But we are quite clear about where we've come from. And our antecedents are within the Pentecostal church. That's how we got here. That's what our motivating factor actually is. But we are unequivocally serving the Black community as a whole. And in terms of going forward, if we are to become a bank, we will not be able to have that the constituent definition as only serving the Pentecostal church.
Indeed. Thank you for that response. I'm going to hand over to Lady Chelsea. You might have a similar question for both Taj and Brother Akram.
Yeah, so will you be, do you have plans to become a bank the same as the other one? And do we have the same issue with names, or are you just continuing to want to be a credit union and this is what you're doing?
No, I mean, we're not a credit. So we're basically a cooperative. We did have or do have plans to incorporate a credit union into the business plan going forward. We'd actually started working on something along those lines, but we're sort of doing a mini U-turn and focusing more on finding ways to generate profits and dividends for people who become members. I think we're going to try and prioritize that, because if you look at the community, what most people want and where we are as a people, I think we need to improve on our economics. So our focus right now is more impacting the Black community from a financial standpoint by investing in different things, businesses, building businesses, sponsoring entrepreneurs, and just trying to, improve on, creation of jobs for, the young'uns and people within the community. So that's kind of like where we're going. At a later stage, we bring in the credit union aspect to the ACU.
Okay. Did you have, sorry. For me, I'm kind of a vague idea of like what everything is. Would you be able to, just for me and the listeners, quickly or briefly say what the difference is between a credit union and a cooperative?
Well, so how I'll put it is this: say a cooperative would be a group of people who come together to cooperate to achieve mutual gains or benefits. So it's just a group of people. It could be, you have different types of you have different types of cooperatives. You could have procurement cooperatives, you could have an investment cooperative, you could have a builders cooperative. It's just a group of people just leveraging the activities of that group where they see a need. Whereas with a credit union, I suppose that defaults, and there's a little bit of similarities in the sense that if you have a credit union, it operates like a bank, but maybe you can't use the word bank, just like I believe Shane was saying, because the remit is much more wider. But as a credit union, you have members who can pool financial resources, or technically you could use the word bank, or deposit money with that credit union. And that credit union can then go ahead and loan out money to members who might need a loan, but maybe at a much more discounted rate than what a high street bank might give you. Or at the same time, maybe a credit union can also loan out money to maybe other entities who are not necessarily members. I suppose it depends on what's in their constitution or how it's structured. So cooperatives, you have different types of cooperatives, but that can do different things. Like you have the cooperative, which has grocery stores, you have retail cooperatives. You could even have a gym cooperative if you wanted. And then with the credit union, it's more about deposits of finances. And then you go ahead and help the community from a financial standpoint relative to giving out loans. So that's how I'll probably say, explain it.
Okay, no, that was fine. Thank you.
I can expand on that a little bit more. I mean,
that's fine.
Cooperatives are basically where people come together for their mutual benefit. Okay, whatever you want in your community for your benefit. That you may want a sport field where you play football. You can pool together and develop that up. So, you have producer owned cooperatives, you have marketing cooperatives, you have consumer cooperatives, you have worker cooperatives, you have housing cooperatives, financial cooperatives, generation cooperatives, retail cooperatives, and customer-owned cooperatives. But these things are things which owned by the people. So therefore, one of the ideas of, as I brother was saying, the banks don't lend you money, and so forth. So cooperatives are mostly funded by the people. So the people are the banks, right? So the people are the banks. So therefore, you don't have to go to the banks to borrow any money. The people say, well, okay, we need £50,000 to do this. So the community comes together, put that money, whatever money they have, and then they buy whatever they want. So they have no bank, no interest to be paid to banks and anything like that. That's why the cooperative is so successful. Since the last recession, what we see in the last recession, many things has collapsed. But if you drive down the high streets, you see cooperatives are opening up all the time because they don't have that problems that other institutions have. Like, for instance, John Lewis is a cooperative. And you can see that most high street big stores has closed down. John Lewis is still going because why? John Lewis is the people serving you on the floor. They're the owners, right? You understand? You see? So because it's your business, you're going to work in it. You can take a pay cut if you want. If you think things are going, things are not going right, you can say, well, look, I'm not going to take my bonuses and things this year. Let us put that back into the funds to make the things going, keep the thing going properly. So these are the differences of the cooperative. The cooperative can also give money to people who wants to do business, same like the credit union, okay? Because imagine you have an idea for a business, okay, but you don't have any money.
Okay.
You can also come to the cooperative and says, look, I have this idea. You show them the idea, and they can invest in that idea. You know what I'm saying? So, there are many things that we can do in the context. And
it's interesting listening to what you've said. You sound to me as an early stage credit union. But before I be so bored, let me go back to Sean. I would ask Sean, what are the services that the credit union, your credit union, currently offers to the community? Because I've seen a great deal on your website. I must say it's a very information-rich website, and I would encourage listeners, and I'll give out the website details shortly. But this lists for us the services currently available offered by the credit union and the other ancillary services that you also provide to the community.
Okay, so primarily we offer financial services. So we have a savings account, which currently yields a very good return in terms of the dividend that we're paying on members on that savings account. A member can save up to £160,000 in their savings account currently. And we also offer loans for any purpose. So the loan can be used for home improvement, holidays, help your children with further education, and also to buy properties. Right. And those are personal loans and corporate loans. And we can also offer loans up to £160,000 to individuals or corporates. We have a debit card that members can apply for, which they can use to make purchases in shops and online. And then in addition to our financial services that we offer members, we also offer help and development and corporate and social responsibility, because the Credit Union Act specifically lays claim that credit unions should promote the financial education of their members. And that is something that myself and the board take quite seriously. So at the moment, we'll know that in this current pandemic, we know that things will never be the same again in terms of education and training. And I think there was a study quite recently that by 2025, about 500,000 jobs will be lost in the economy, and they'll be replaced by about 600,000 jobs. But these jobs are going to be jobs requiring a high level of computer skills and IT skills.
Yes.
And we recognize that for many of our members will need to be upskilled. So we've now partnered with a group called Future Think in order to offer IT training and computer training to our members so that they are equipped to deal with the new normal. One of our flagship programs is our Youth Shadow Board, which sits as a shadow board for young people aged between 11 and 18. Now, this shadow board doesn't have any formal powers like the board of directors that actually own and control the credit union, but it teaches them the soft skills about governance, about acting as a board, so that they are able to work as a board when they get older. Right. So that they know how to manage a financial institution. So they actually have their own budget, they actually manage their own activities, and they actually report to the members at an AGM for how they have managed their own budget. And this is part of our succession plan, because we hope to see these young people not just taking major jobs and major roles going forward, but actually as the future directors and senior managers in our credit union.
Absolutely.
And finally, we've also had our own business development program, which we termed Solomon's Room, which was a play on Dragon's Den, effectively. So essentially, it allowed many of our fledgling business owners, because we have a strong ethos on entrepreneurship in the credit union, because any community that you see around the world that is successful has a strong entrepreneurial base. And so we promoted many of our fledgling Black business owners to make a promotion to many of our Solomons, or Dragons as they would have been known as, millionaire Black business owners, to get help and support for their fledgling business. So those are some of the other things that we do in addition to our core business.
Wonderful, wonderful. It's, again, as I said to others here, your website it's information rich, and I'm going to give it out now as I'm saying this. It is, of course, pcuuk, get that right, .com. I say it again, pcuuk.com. That is the website, the Pentecostal Credit Union. And it is information rich, and I haven't yet taken out an account as yet, Shane, but be assured, within the next month, I intend to take out an account with yourselves, and organisations that I belong to, who are currently banking with elsewhere, should be banking with yourself. You are
forward to it.
Yeah, you are what we've been looking for some time. Okay, so expect that to happen soon. I'm going to hand over to Lady Chelsea. She may have a question for the African Cooperative Union. There we go. In terms of their cooperation.
Yeah. So your services. So I saw on your website that you had 4 program areas, and if you wanted to just expand on that, say what they are and what they do.
Okay. So at this junction, so we have a community investment fund. We run business programs. On top of that, we have the credit union there. So all of these areas, I suppose the core idea is taking everything in stages. So the first stage is obviously trying to help members to make money. A lot of people, like you said, I think, are going to lose their jobs going into the future. you need to be diversified. So I suppose our focus is to help people make money at this junction. And like I said, that would have a ripple effect going into the future in terms of impacting the community. The more business people we have, the more entrepreneurs we've sponsored or we've invested by taking equity or giving them loans, that would have a ripple effect because we can then create more jobs, be it soft, hard, whatever industry that is. On top of that, when you start looking about what are the skill sets that are needed in the community, so we then move on to running training programs. So there's things that you should know about taxes, saving, how to save your money, where to save. Another thing, whilst we haven't got our credit union up, we can also, direct people over to the PCU guys. So it's all about training, teaching people different things. People should have a will, so you're not leaving bills when you die, so to speak. So anything, or it could even be in, learning how. I've met people who have phones, don't even know how to work their phone, especially in the mature citizens don't know how to work the phone. You're like, press that button, press that button. And they're like, what button? I'm pressing. And you're like, come on. Okay, so, it's just running things, training programs, courses that would have an impact and benefit the community. On top of that, then we have the credit union. The fourth one, you said it's 4, I think it's 3, I can just check. Yeah, so those are, I would say, the key things that we're going to be focusing on. But right now, it's more investment in training. I think those are quite key for education. Those are the key things that we're focusing on going.
Okay.
Yeah. Unlike I said, the credit union side. Let me just put this first before I do that. You see, I said cooperatives are for men and women who join their effort to make a better difference. Right. I mean, as we'll talk about the future going forward, and what I looked at when I developed the idea of the cooperative is the situation of many of our young people who come out of schools and they cannot get jobs, right? From what we know is in our community, the highest rate of unemployment is among our people, right? There are people who come out from prisons, they have skills, but they cannot get jobs. And we don't differentiate. I mean, as long as you are from the African community and you have skills, we will try to help you, as long as you're honest and things like that. So the future is about our young people. What are we going to do for them? That's the cooperative. I mean, can we have our own jobs, our own schools, our own places where we can go and entertain ourselves and things like that. These are things that the community is saying that we need, we are spending our money in other people's places and we're not spending our money among ourselves. So developing supermarkets and things like that, where we can go and do our own shopping and buying our own food and other things like that. So it covers a very wide field, the cooperative movement. Like the credit union that our brother was talking about, we were trying to develop that. We're still trying to develop that credit union. But unlike his credit union, which develops only for a certain community, ours is the whole of UK. That's what we wanted to take on. That means whether you're in London, whether you're in Bristol, whether you're in Manchester, you can be a part of that credit union, right? So that was the idea of the credit union. Yeah. So as I said, basically going forward, the cooperative, to me, as Brother Martin knows, that Jeremy Corbyn in the last election, and I thought he would have won based on that principle, because he said, if I win the election, all these stores that's closing down will not be closed down, because I will encourage them into cooperatives. That all the people who owns those things be the ones to take over, and we, the government, would have supported. And I thought people would pick up on that, because it was a great idea, because so many people were losing their jobs, right? Because these places are closing down. And Jeremy Corbyn said, no, I would have encouraged them to be cooperatives, that these things would not happen. That means the people who are employed in those places will then take them over. You understand? And that is what a cooperative is.
Brother Akram, did double check. Could you, if I may say so, both yourself and Brother Shane here from the Pentecostal Credit Union or PCU are saying much the same things. It does appear on the surface. Okay.
Because it is one and the same.
Absolutely. Now, I want to make this observation, this strategic observation about businesses, organizations in this country and beyond. Consolidation, yeah, appears to be the way in which many organizations grow and evolve. Okay. I see with the PCU, and forgive me, Shane, you may not want to say this yourself, but I'm going to say this anyway. The PCU has been around for what, 40 years or so?
That's right.
A tremendous amount of time, an enormous amount of experience and acquired skills, okay? You, in effect, started that journey. You're maybe 10 years into that journey at this stage, okay? But it seems to me, at first glance, that you are brothers and sisters in arms, work with for the same objective, you know? And I did want to make sure, Shane, I try to avoid this coming back and forth. I'm aware that the PCU is not limited to this part of London, but is nationwide. And I think Shane has also said that he's not limited to the immediate group, which is the focus group, which of course is members of the Pentecostal Church, absolutely. Anyone links to the Pentecostal Church. You may have been to a function organized by the Pentecostal Church, and I believe all of us here have been either consciously or unconsciously been linked to a function organized by the Pentecostal Church, and that was entitled you to membership, just by virtue of that link. So I don't see that there's any real barrier. And if the same trajectory that you're on, which clearly the PCUs outlined today, that they want to become a bank, I see great potential for cooperation, cooperative union, cooperation, and you may envisage you might be stronger together than working separately. Now, I'm saying this in public, I know. I haven't taken it to one side and had a quiet conversation with you. But the whole purpose of these shows and why we started these shows is for empowerment, yeah? For us to take control, for us to develop narratives, allow us to overcome the barriers that keep us apart, for us to have real vision that come to pass, you know? For us to be really ambitious for our children. Why I insisted that I have a much younger person with me, an oldie, and I have a very vibrant, intelligent young woman with me, you know?
Oh, thanks.
You see? So it is clearly, at first stroke, I say, but hold on a moment. These are inspired African peoples. They have exactly the same ambition. Am I wrong? If I maybe put that question initially to Taj and I'll go to Shane. Maybe Taj, am I wrong in my observation?
No. You're not wrong. There's crossovers and overlaps in both, just like Brother Akram mentioned that we're one and the same, so to speak. It is the first time I'm hearing of the PCU, even though it has a Christian or Pentecostal line to it. But at the same time, you know, we're stronger together. So there's definitely scope for conversations to be had. I'm definitely one for, you know, collaborations, seeing how we can push things forward as one unit rather than everybody being separate. But like I say, it's fresh. So you know, we'll try and see if we can open up dialogue and see what's possible going forward.
Brilliant. Shane, have I been too bold?
No. I mean, unity is strength in all things. I was not aware of the African Cooperative Union until your invitation came across. What I understand is that the Cooperative Union isn't a credit union as such yet, but is actually a cooperative with a number of objectives. Correct me if I'm wrong. So yes, we support a number of Black businesses, both professionally and also in terms of the services that we use as a business. So we are happy to collaborate, where there is mutual benefit for both the organisation and for the membership. I also understand that they may have ambitions to develop a credit union as part of their wider cooperative remit. That would be something that I'd be very interested to learn a little bit more about, because obviously they would need to have a common bond, and their common bond, if their theme and overlook may have some overlap with the Pentecostal Credit Union, because as you correctly pointed out, we have a nationwide reach, not just a local one, and we are currently serving the Black community nationwide. So certainly there's some room for discussion there.
Absolutely. And brother, is he there? Brother Erkham, or you go quiet?
No, I'm here. As I point out that as I said, for me, as I said, my hope and ambition, as I said, like when we first sat down and I showed it to Brother Sabwezi, is that, look, this is something that has to be done. It may not happen in our lifetime. We personally may not even for our efforts and our investments and so forth, we might not even get anything back from it. But it has to be done if we're going to change the narrative of our people, because our people is in dire straits, not just here, but around the world. And the idea of the cooperative is not just for here only, but to expand also into Africa, the Caribbean, and the Americas. And
if I may, but I'm pretty sure those words are music to the ears of the chief executive of the PCU. Do you see why the synergy is profound? It is profound. I'm confident when I say that. Okay. Now, of course, is to develop the narrative, inclusive narrative, that allows the experience in other communities where businesses collaborate and potentially merge to become greater than the individual part, because they become powerful, stronger businesses. Yeah, and that's what we need in our community: powerful, strong businesses. And its starting point is always the banks. Access to capital is the biggest barriers, and we've all said it here, that other communities try to restrict our access to capital, either overtly or covertly. Okay, but it's manifest in the outcomes. Our community is not poor per se, but sometimes we're poor in mind. Okay, so in order for us to move forward, we've got to be prepared to develop a new narrative, a new modus operandi, a new vision, a joint vision, and we've got to give something. We can't expect all what we had before to be included, but the best bits of what we had before should be what's included in the merged entity. That's how these large corporations have evolved over time. They haven't traded themselves into profitability.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, and as I said, one of the things we have to do if we're going to move that forward, we have to stop being selfish.
Indeed.
We have to stop me. As I said to you, I've invested a lot of my time. I've invested a lot of my funds, right?
I know.
Hundreds, thousands of pounds I've invested in this idea, okay? And as Brother Taj can tell you, or anyone else, I may not get anything back from it, okay? But because I believe that this thing is so important to our community, right? And if our community come together in that mindset, we can develop something for the future, right? maybe not now, but we have children, we have grandchildren. Are they going to be, 40 years from now, 50 years from now, are they, because everybody cannot be a business person, okay? But what I'm always say to all people, if on the high road, on the right-hand side, everything on that right-hand side belongs to all of us, not just some of us, right? That means we all have investments in it. The 2 million of us here have investment in what is on the right-hand side. And on the left-hand side is the Indians, the Chinese, the Europeans, and whoever. Are you going to go cross the road to go on the left-hand side, or are you going to go to keep on the right-hand side where once you invest in that, that is going to be your profits, your business, your future, right? That is the idea of the cooperative, right? Because nobody else is doing for us. And we have the right to do whatever we want to take ourselves out of this poverty. Nobody can tell us we cannot do it.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you. I'm going to ask you to pause there. Thank you very much. Because that's an emphatic statement. And I'm going to ensure that both organisations share your credentials. I've got permission to share both your credentials together. And I hope you organise private meetings and you discuss a vision for the future. But I can only say to you, both organisations, the community is watching, okay? The community needs you both to succeed, okay? And all the evidence suggests from other communities, it's better working together, okay? And, you see, Taj, you look young still to me anyway, never mind, okay? And Lady Chelsea, you see, okay? Myself, Brother Akram, I've met Shay, I've not met him, but I know him now. We want you to inherit our works, yeah? You are the next generation. And others who are listening here, you are the next generation. This is legacy planning in motion, as it were, okay? So I just realized, it's just been brought to my attention, but I've not formally opened the phone lines. Oh my gosh. I know. But it was so stimulating. I'm going to ask Shane, did you want to say anything in response to what you've heard so far before I open the phone lines?
Just going back to a point that your earlier guest made about improving the development and wealth, not just in this country, but in other localities such as North America, Africa, and the Caribbean. I think it's important to recognize that in Africa and in the USA, they already have their own banks. Okay, black banks in Africa and the USA are nothing new. They're pretty well established. It's only here in England, the UK, that we do not have actually our own banking structures here. And that is why the presence of a black bank or black owned institutions are so important. It's all good and well to have that international perspective, but you need to make sure that everything is well in your own home first before you venture out. And it's just going back to something that you also said about access to capital, which is so important. And that is why, having black-owned institutions black financial institutions are important, because I think there was a study a little while ago about how long capital actually remains in individual communities. I think there was a comparative study about the Asian community, the Jewish community, and how long, the dollars remained in those communities. And when it came to the black community, I think they said that the dollar only remained for 6 hours or something like that, and that is why it's so important. And black financial institutions are important, not only so that people have access to funds, but that those funds are then dispersed or distributed within the community. And then when those communities get some of the funds, they deposit it back in a credit union or a black-owned bank, so that the money stays within the community, creating wealth, creating jobs. And important that our institutions also support other black businesses not just credit unions, because that's what we try to do in the credit union, is to support other Black businesses so that they are a part of the wealth creation process.
Thank you. Thank you. Beautifully said. Thank you very much. I'm going to open up the phone lines now. So this, I realize we've got limited time, but I'll open it up. And the number to call, those of you who've listened and are stimulated, excited at the presence of two important institutions in the studio who will play an important role in the community in decades to come. The opportunity to speak to leaders of those organizations, they're here live with us today. So the number to call, it's 0203 481 5240. You're asked to enter a PIN number 3707 33 43 97, followed by the # sign. That's the vertical and horizontal symbol. I like to do that because, you know, us oldies need to be clear that you see in your keypad. Huh? Here you are. Okay? I'm now formally opening the lines. So let's pursue a few more questions whilst the listeners are considering, because this has been quite a useful exercise in community relations. Okay. If I may go back now to the ACU in terms of the current projections. Okay, you described the different strands to the ACU. Okay, but which of those strands have reached a point of maturity that we ordinary members of the community can point to, say, that's the ACU officers. So which of these strands have you developed so far that that you could refer to?
Right. So, like I could say, sometimes when you start with a vision, you have high trajectories, low trajectories, peaks and troughs. So right now, I won't say since the inception we've done majorly big things. There's been one or two things that have been tried. I suppose in establishing something concrete right now, I suppose it's going to be pushing forward from now going on, so to speak. We do have a few investments. So our priority going forward is, to put money to work in terms of either buying properties, putting money to work in the stock market, and so that we can generate that revenue for our members. That also includes putting money to work in buying land, maybe in Africa, developing it. A lot of the people in the community want to move back home. The UK is a very high stress environment. So for the mature citizens, or even some younger people who are in the capacity to retire early, provide that sort of environment or possibility for them. So it's really a case of going forward into the future in terms of what we're going to be delivering for our members, and in a roundabout way, the community as well.
I understand you. Thank you for that. And if I may put a similar question to you, Shane, as regards young people, as I see that, as you said, you've just described the youth board, you've also described the various facilities, but of your current membership, how many are, if I just put a figure, 25 and under, or around, or in their 20s maybe? Any ideas? Is it a growing part of it, or is it one that you are still developing?
In line with credit unions nationwide, usage is most popular amongst the more mature person. And so currently we conducted a segmentation study a few years ago, which showed us that those under the age of 35 in the credit union comprised of 30% of our membership. So that presents a particular issue for us, because just to take you back, the credit union was founded by members of the Windrush generation, and they were primarily the users of our services. But of course, going forward, if the credit union is going to be successful, it's going to be essential that we take the younger generation with us on our journey. And that's why we've been forced to modernize to a certain extent in terms of our online presence and new uptake of services. And we have a number of other initiatives that perhaps we can touch on another time in order to encourage more younger uptake.
Right. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Thank you for that. That's an interesting percentage. It seems quite large, but that's interesting. Interesting. Lady Chelsea.
Yeah. So for Taj or Brother Akram, what is the ACU doing to encourage young people to participate?
Okay. Well, the first is communicating with the younger generation on a level and speaking the language that they understand, really. So we're at the moment, we're currently trying to do a little bit of a revamp on our website, and then we launch, because it's all about marketing and reaching people, and I don't think we've been able to achieve that pre me coming on board, so to speak. There's been people who've joined, but not in the numbers that is actually required. So I suppose there's a little bit of a holdback in terms of waiting for the website to be fully functional. It's functional as it is, but there's certain things that need to be operational. And then we just go full throttle. We're going to be at a number of events up and down the country. We're going to be on social media. So we've just got all of our different handles up and running, ready to be able to reach people, because it's very, very important to bring the younger generation along, because at the end of the day, when we move on, they're going to take over. And I think it's about imparting the knowledge and getting them on board to understand how the cooperative works, the benefits. And it's a much more powerful system than the normal capitalistic route. It's like when you think about, if you want to go far, go together. If you want to go fast, go along, so to speak. So it's about taking the community along. So definitely the younger generation on all those social media platforms, that's what they know, that's what they understand. So we're going to be in as many venues, many events, and on social media to involve it. And as well as some other charitable organizations out there, and there's a lot of different people doing different things. So we're going to be in communication with those different outfits to onboard people.
Yeah, and if I may expound on that, you see, we have been struggling in the sense, as Brother said, in the marketing department, and also of our people not really understanding what cooperative is. Unfortunately, most people have grown up in the capitalist society, where it talks about, individuals having business and so forth. We have not been taught very much about cooperating together in order to do things, to move forward together. In Africa, we say Ubuntu, together, right? And it is so vital, if we as a people are going to move forward in the future, that we move forward together. We don't leave anyone behind. We don't want to leave anyone behind, because what we have seen, and I draw 2 examples or 3 examples. One, America, the richest capitalist society in the world. India, the second largest capitalist society in the world. Look at the poverty in both. China, which have a cooperative side to it, has brought more people out of poverty than those 2 countries put together in the last 35 years, right? So what I'm saying is, we have to look at a different model if we're going to move forward. And our people need
interrupting, Brother Akram. I've got a caller on the line. Let me just quickly take this caller. So caller with number ending 3133. Good morning to you. Can I ask you just give your name and your question, please?
Oh, my name is Onua Magbe, and
a lovely name, a lovely name. Say that again. I love that name. Go on.
Onua Magbe.
Onua Magbe. Ah, thank you, thank you. Blessings, blessings to you. You have a question. You have a question.
Yes, I have a question, and I also want to congratulate these 2 people, and you as well, for making the effort to bring them to the air.
Thank you.
Because I'm a small business. Yes, I'm a small business, and all I've been looking for is a banking system like this one they are running. A place where I can put my money to help my own people and also to help my own business as well. And each penny that I put in that account, I know it's not only working for me, but also for my generation to come. And then for the funder who have invested so much money and said, look, he's not even expecting anything from this. But what about our grandchildren and grandchildren? That is a very like mind. I wish we can all think like that as well, because it's high time that you and I actually start thinking about the next generation so that they're not going to fall into the situation that we fell in with all the qualities and knowledge that we have, and still we live like beggars when we are not. We are supposed to be the lion. So first and foremost, I really
can I ask?
My question is this. Yeah, my question is this. When we say when a company, like a small business like my one, transfer their account into you for to manage their businesses, loans, and everything, what would be the benefits really?
I suppose that's questions for Shane, I imagine, for PCU. Yes.
Yes. Good morning.
Good morning.
The benefit, yes, the benefits are twofold. So initially, by opening an account in the credit union, a business account, there are a number of benefits. Now, the first one is that the credit union pays a better return on your deposits than the mainstream banks. Now, if you've got a current account or basic savings account, you'd be lucky to get 0.01% return on that deposit. Now, this year, we paid a dividend, a tax-free dividend to all our savers of 0.5%. You won't get a better return on your deposit anywhere with an instant access, I might add. You might get a better return. You will get a better return if you're locking the money down, but not on an instant access basis. In addition to that, if you are a corporate account holder, you'll know that having a business account with Barclays or NatWest or any of the mainstream banks, you are going to be paying business charges associated with that account. In the Pentecostal Credit Union, there are no charges or fees applicable to that account when you're using it. So there are a number of benefits there. Also, if you need a loan for any purpose for your business, you can get one. The procedure is pretty straightforward. You can do it online. You have online access to your business account to pay your bills. As far as I can see, there are no drawbacks to opening your account. And as you quite rightly point out, by opening an account and transacting with one, you are helping other people within your community to get access to funds.
Mm-hmm. And one last question, although it's not very common, just to ask. Do you pay interest on business accounts?
Yes. So although what the return is actually a dividend and not interest, because in the credit union, what you get is a surplus or a dividend, which is a share of the profit that the credit union makes. Now, banks pay interest, but credit unions pay dividends, providing that they have made a profit or surplus in their financial year. Now, the credit union has made a surplus for each one of its 41 years in existence. Well, and we have paid a dividend, a tax-free dividend, each year that we've been in business. And as I said, this year, even in this tight financial climate, we were able to pay our members a return of 0.5%. So that's what you'd be getting on your business account.
Wow.
I really wish you well. Excellent.
Yeah. Well,
thank you.
It's a pleasure. And I hope that answers your question. Before you go, I wonder if members of the African Cooperative Union want to make any comment on your question, Taj or Bodakram.
Okay.
No, go on.
Now, what I was going to say is, you see, one of the things, my sister, I mean, you said you have a business, and I've been trying to encourage our people to cooperate in business, you know, in other business like yourself, come together, you know, and said, well, look, you know, I don't know what type of business you're doing, but let's say, for instance, you were purchasing certain goods, right? Get involved with other companies, other like business that is doing similar things, and instead of going to the wholesalers, because I'm sure you probably go to a wholesaler in order to get your goods, come together with different people who have, you know, let's say there's 100 of you, pool your resources and go direct to the manufacturer. That way you can then supply our people with cheaper goods rather than the high cost. That's what is holding our business back. That's why they're running to the Indians, and because, you know, if they go to the Indian man, they pay 10 pence for something. When they come to our stores, they pay 15 pence for that. So that is the reason why they, you know, is holding us back. So that is something I would encourage, and that is part of what the cooperative is trying to do. Is, you know, as we develop, is to try to bring most of our business into that cooperative mindset.
To collaborate, yes.
The only thing I would layer onto that is, if you were to become a member of the ACU, I mean, our ambitions is to try and make people above 12% on your money every year. Could be a little bit higher than that, but just to be on the safe side, I'll just say above 12%. And if you, so I'll leave it on that note.
Impressive.
And I must say the lockdown is an eye opener for so many businesses, and even this program that we are all listening to now. The lockdown also helped to promote it. So in a way, most of us are very aware now, and we know what we are looking for. We are not jumping into decisions anymore. Instead, we can hold back until we get what we want. So definitely, you will go a long way, because I'm going to tell people about you, and I'll probably get in touch with you shortly.
Yeah, we have a website that people can go to. It's called the African Cooperative Union Limited. The African Cooperative Union is spelled with a K, not a C. African Cooperative Union. And and you can go to our website and find all our details on there. We also have a telephone number, which is 07 599 894 082. So, you know, but as I said, you can go to our website and all the information is there. You know, if you want to write to us, you can write to us at info@africancooperative.com. Or any of the fields that you come across, because I said we have info@africancooperative.com or info@acu.coop. So either one will bring you to the same platform.
Thank you for that, Akram. And of course, Corda, you've also alluded that the PCU, Pentecostal Credit Union, which has been established for more than 40 years, strong track record, pays dividend for that 40 years. Gosh, you know,
wow.
It's a very contribution. Oh yeah. As I said, I'm going to open up my account with the PCU within the month. So there you are. But I'm sure if we can talk after this show, we could do it together. Yeah, that's a positive outcome for the show. Corda, I want to thank you for your call. I made note of your number. We'll speak after this show. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And if I can now, I realise I've just been warned we've got but a handful of minutes remaining. I'm sorry this happened, but you both have been so stimulating. I suppose I should have a longer show, huh? I could get really into it, but anyway, never mind. It's been extremely good. Ah, there you are. There's an approval from Lady Chelsea. Can I first of all just go back to Shane, who's the chief executive of the Pentecostal Credit Union, PCU, who's been around for 40 years to make his closing statements. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure to join everybody this morning on this call, and it's very encouraging to know that despite some of the challenges that we are having as a community, that there are many of us that are not content just to sit back and allow the current malaise to continue. I want to wish the African Cooperative Union all the best with their endeavours as a cooperative and as a fledgling credit union. If we can be of any assistance to them in their endeavours, then we will happily do that. And I also welcome the greater African and Caribbean diaspora to the Pentecostal Credit Union and the services that we offer, because as we've discussed here already, there is a specific need with access to capital in order for us to build our communities, to educate our children and to progress. So I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to, if everyone could give their websites, numbers, contacts, social media handles.
Yeah.
Like that.
So the Pentecostal Credit Union, the website is can be found at www.pcuuk.com. We are on all of the major social networks on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And our direct telephone number is 0208 673 2542. Business is open Monday to Friday between 9 and 5. But with our online presence, the credit union is open 24 hours a day.
Okay.
Brilliant. Thank you, Shane. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you very much. Can I go over now to the ACU?
Let Brother Stanford go first.
I can only give you 2 minutes.
What I'd like to say is thank you for that, Shane, and I will be consulting with the executive team. Maybe we can open up an account with you all, because we've been looking at this avenue, so it's quite possible. So we'll need to talk with you to discuss this issue. So hopefully we'll be able to work together in that vein. But as I said, for people, the cooperative is about membership, about people coming together, pooling our resources together. We cannot do it by ourselves. We don't have a pool of money, but if collectively, Ubuntu, we pool our resources together, we can then get the required amount of money to start the things that you all want us to start. You all want to start a supermarket, we can start that. Whatever you all want to do, we can do it, but we need the numbers, right? We need the numbers of people. That is vitally important.
Thank you. And Taj, you make it simple.
I'm not going to say too much, to everyone. Thanks to, the host inviting us down. To everyone listening, to Shane, all I'm going to say is, as per the ACU, you need to join the ACU so that we can own the narrative going forward, leave a legacy of wills and not bills. So I look forward to meeting everyone, and, we can do some amazing things for our community and ourselves as well. Thank you.
Wills, not bills. Oh, I like that. Brilliant, brilliant. And of course, all parties agreed that they will continue a dialogue following this program, and the ACU just announced that they will most probably take up an account with the PCU. So the future is bright for the youngsters here. Okay, That's what we want, and please follow through. So go ahead.
Sorry. Did you have an Instagram or something?
Yes, Instagram. I mean, if you type in African Cooperative Union, just remember to type African with a K. We should come up on all the Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all of those.
Okay, cool.
In that case, I've got maybe a minute or so remaining. I'm going to thank you all for your contribution today. It's been information rich. I know that the recordings will be played again and again on Facebook and YouTube, and I'm anticipating that both organisations, you should see an increased number of inquiries. I hope that those inquiries become solid members, and I most certainly hope that both organisations follow through the promise made today that you will seek ways to collaborate. I want to thank you both for attending. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, Lady Chelsea.
All right. Thank you for that, Come. Thank you.
Hearing the voice, but I'm not seeing the face. So
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that was Lady Chelsea. That was a wonderful experience, wasn't it? Yes.
Yeah. No, it was. It really was insightful.
The considerable prospects. There's clearly it's enormous potential there, and those organisations collaborating.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
definitely look forward to that happening. I'm very, very impressed by the PCU. 40 years, and up until this year, I didn't know they existed. Gosh.
Yeah, no, same. Both of us. It's really interesting to see what's happening, especially money is such a big thing. So
that's a big thing in the community. We need to control capital.
Therefore,
organize around capital. And this is one format in which we can organize around it for our collective good. So we definitely need to continue to encourage our people getting involved, taking out those accounts, joining the membership, becoming involved, because it's for our children's futures.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. What a wonderful show. I really enjoyed it.
No, it's really good.
I must say I've got a list of questions here. I'm going to
really?
Organizations, both organizations by way of a letter afterwards. But I'm confident now we've given out the website and so on. Many of these questions can be resolved via the website.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Via the website. But I'll respond to as many as I can anyway. I'll post this. I'll share it with Shane, Taj, and Brother Akram thereafter. But I think we've achieved our mission today, that is to increase and improve awareness.
Yes.
I think that's our time up now.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lady Chelsea.
Thank you.
And thank you to all our guests and the listeners. Stay strong and be hopeful for the future. Success is ours for the taking. Where there's a will, there is a way.
Thank you. Goodbye, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Give me some tissue, Tyler. Sometimes it feels